Okay, so now let's talk about the web server. Okay, you know what is IIS server? Everybody knows what is it. It's the platform for hosting web web applications or website directly on your Windows server. Normally, you host them on the cloud, like AWS, Amazon, Google, GCP, or Azure, but you can host them in your server on premise. So IIS is an hypertext transfer protocol web server. That's where you host your website. Okay, if you're creating a website, you must host them somewhere so everybody can access it. Normally, a public website, you don't host it on your web server on premise. So the server accepts incoming HTTP requests, process them, and send a response back to the requester. The new version is the IIS version 10, is a version of web server included in the Windows Server 2016 letter. Which every new release of the operating system, you have new functionality that has been added to IIS to support new standard innovation. IIS introduced the following functionality. IIS in nano server container. So remember with Docker, we did something like container, wildcard host headers, manage IIS, HTTP2, and IIS free pool, ideal CPU optimization for NUMA hardware. This is really fantastic for a very big website. And on Windows Server, IIS is installed as a server role named web server. In addition to the basic role, numerous optional role services are available that enable specific IIS functionality. So I'm again on this server, okay, RDS. I'm using a lot of this server. I could create a new IIS server, but it's not the case. So I'm here, and I imagine that you want to host a new web page, like an intranet web page, or maybe you have installed on-premise SharePoint, or so many solutions using IIS. Okay, it's really better to use SharePoint. I created a new training on SharePoint for power user. You can see it's very nice. But okay, so imagine you have an IIS server and you want to create your own intranet website. So what you must do first is install the role web services. Okay, so you go here and you go here in red, and here you have your IIS. When you install IIS, you just go here next, and here you have some feature, and you can see that you have a lot of role services. Okay, like for example, default document, directory browsing, health and diagnostic, performance, security. You have FTP server if you want, of course, and of course the console to manage your IIS server. So do next here and install here, and it will install a brand new IIS web server. Okay, and of course you will have a lot of PowerShell command to manage your server. So if you want to do, for example, a small web page, okay, so you can download the sample web page, and you can put it in a special directory. I will show you that after. So let's wait that the web server is installed. Cool. So it has been installed correctly. How can I check that my server has been installed correctly? It's very simple. Just go on internet here and just type here HTTP localhost. And if you see that you have all the hello in all the language, so it's mean that it has been installed correctly. You have IIS here, okay? How can I see also is that I have my services who has been, of course, started, okay? So if I show you first the services here, let's go here and get service here. You will see that I have all my services, of course, for my web services. Okay? So all my services here for RPV or for my web server are just here. Okay, so meaning that my service here is started, so I can see all my service was started or my service was stopped here with PowerShell, and I have a way to say, okay, my web server is running correctly, and I have here all my services here. Okay, so here you can see your worldwide publishing services here. So I know that it has been correctly running. If I want to restart it, I can do IIS reset, for example. If you do IIS reset, for example, he will reset your service. Okay, for example. How can I know that it has been installed also is that if I go here on my C drive, I have my init here, okay? And here I can see that I have the name of my log, and here is where I have my web page. Remember, this is my *, this page, okay? I can change it if I want to create a new page here, okay? And here's my image here. And to be sure it has been installed also, what I can do is that to see that I have my web services here, of course, I see that it's been correctly started. And of course you have your manager here, okay? This is really where you spend most of your time here. So you have your web server here, you have your application pool. Application pool is what is it? It's the way that when you create, imagine that you are hosting 10 web server, and if suddenly one of your web server goes down, you don't want that the other server goes down also. So it's not very good news. So you can put your web server in application pool, and you can after say, okay, this server is isolated from the other one, and I can also, you know, give some CPU, RAM, so it's very nice. And here I have my site, okay, I have my default website, okay, and I can see my authentication, compression, default document here, for example, the default document that is that I can use, error page, logging, for example. So if I want to do some log and to log all what is happening in my system, I can have the client IP address, username, the user agent, for example, if it's Windows or Mac OS, okay, it's very nice. I have my SSL setting here, so if I want to because actually my binding is in HTTP, it's not in HTTPS, so of course it's not very secure. And here I have my website here. I can see that actually the port is 80, so every user can connect without putting a port, but I can change it if I want. I can change the port and say, okay, it's the port 81, for example. If I do that, what is happening is that if I try to connect now directly here, it will not work because it's not listening on the right port. So I must go here and say 8081, okay? So I must go here and say, okay, the new port is this one. And of course, my website will appear correctly, okay? So let's go back to the other port because often it's a port 80, of course. You're not gonna ask a user to type, you know, 8081, okay? Host name is used if you have multi-website, okay? So imagine you have multi-website and every website use the 80 port. You cannot create another default website if it has the same port than this website. So other two solution, okay? So let's say that I want to create a new website here. I'm going to say add website. I'm going to say it's going to be my marketing website. The physical path, I'm going to say it's going to be here, and it poop here. I'm going to create a new. I'm going to create a new folder, for example, marketing. Okay, and this is the 80. If I do that, he will not start. Why? Because it's not possible to start it. Because if you want to start it, he will say no, it's not possible. Why? Because you have the same port in this one. Oh my god. So I have two solutions. I can go in edit binding and I can, for example, change the port 81. If I change the port 81, of course I can start it now. No problem. He will start correctly. Let's see that. Start. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So for that, if I want to test it, okay, let's go here on my, let's take the two of them here and let's go on my marketing. Let's go here on marketing and put that and maybe change my, okay, go on Google and maybe, oh, I'm gonna do something because each time he will ask me if really I want to go here on internet. Yeah, we'll do off here, just like this. He will not ask me each time. So for example, let's say I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna type marketing, and I can go here in image and, for example, take one marketing. Let's say, I don't know, maybe marketing digital. Okay, I'm gonna save my picture here, save picture as, and I'm gonna go here. I will go on my www root here, inetpub, sorry, marketing, and let's say, okay, here, I'm gonna say, for example, marketing. Okay, it's going to be here a JPEG here. Okay, cool. If I go back here now, I have my here my marketing. So if I go here, I have my marketing JPEG. Okay, so if I go here on my page, and I'm going to open it with choose another app, Notepad, for example, and if I search for IIS start here. Maybe you're gonna say, okay, yeah, that's it. So I'm gonna change the logo here. And I'm going to say that my new logo is marketing. It's a JPEG, okay, mkt.jpg. Okay, so this one, and I'm going to say JPEG. Okay, let's save it and let's see if it's working correctly. Let's go on IIS start now, and normally he will show me my, yeah, that's good. Thank you very much. So if I go back here to my website here, okay, if I go here, it's going to be the port binding 8081. Okay, so if I want to access now my website, I must go here in my localhost, okay, and I must put at the end 81. Okay, so sorry, HTTP localhost, I will say 81, and here I have my website. Okay, problem is that of course it's not very good because the user must type 81, and maybe, you know, they say, oh, we don't want to type 81, it's too complicated. So for that, for my binding here, I can go here, I can put 80. But after I can change here the for example, I can say I don't know, like okay, like for example we can say marketing dot fluctuation it.lab. Cool. And now it's going to work. Okay, I must now create on my DNS a record for marketing. Okay. So I'm sure it's going to work here. Okay, so otherwise it would not work. But if I do, okay, now you will see that I have the same port here. This one I have my 80 port here, and this one I have my 80 port here. And now I can go here and I can, for example, do a manage website and stop. And if I start it, it will work correctly. Okay, because I changed my, okay, so that's very nice. So that's a way that you can have, you know, all them, but you must create on your DNS, of course, the entry for that, because I said, okay, it was nkt.fluctuation80.lab. Otherwise, it would not work. Okay, so when a user go here on mkt, so if I go here, what is the IP address of this server? Okay, it's this one, 103. Okay, so if I go back now, my DNS, and I create an entry for marketing. So if I go here on DNS and I do a new auth for marketing, MKT, and server was the RDS server. Okay, I'm going to do a ping RDS, and it's this one. The ping doesn't respond because ICMP is blocked. Okay, so marketing.fluctuation is like that. Cool. So if I go back to my RDS server, it's on my RDS server. It's my IIS server. Sorry. And now, of course, if I go here and I type, for example, HTTP marketing.fluctuation.it.lab, it will work correctly. Oh, sorry. Why? Because he knows the port. Okay, and that's working fine. Woo! Fantastic. So normally what I can do is that for this one I can change it also, you know, in the binding. I can say, for example, like, you know, I don't know, like intranet, for example, that fluctuation it.lab. Cool. So that's really nice now. Okay, like, so of course I must add also an intranet if I want here on my AD, otherwise it will not work. Okay, I have my here marketing here. And of course, I need to have my intranet here. Okay, so if I take my IP address here and I create a new one, and I will put it here and I type intranet, add host. Okay, cool. So this was a small example of what we can do with DNS with IIS. Okay, in the next video we'll go more further and I will show you more information about, for example, certificate and other information. Okay, what we can do with IIS. Okay, but for the meantime, stay tuned. Okay, and wait for my next video on IIS. Ciao, ciao.